Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video you are going to learn how to test a Quarkus application with RestAssured and H2 Database. Let's start. I already created a simple Quarkus project that I can manage a movie entity. I can get all the movie from the database. I can also fetch a movie by ID, by title, by country, and also I can create a movie inside the database, update an existing movie, and finally I can delete a movie by ID. It's a simple project where I decide to use a movie repository with panache repository, and in this case my entity it's a movie entity with a title, description, country and director. Before write the first test, let's try this application. As you can see, the server is up and running and listening on port 8080, and here all the dependencies that I used. I decided to use a Postgres database and the image of Postgres pulled from Docker, and you can see it's already up and running. So let's go to Postman and let's try to create a new movie. Let's add the title, the description, the director, the country, and then click on send. Perfect. Let's create another one. Second movie. And again click on send. Perfect. Let's switch to the get method. Click on send. And you can see the list of our movies. We can also find a movie by ID and also by title. First movie. Very good. And finally, we can also find the movie by country. Very good. Now we can also update an existing movie inside the database. So go inside the tab Put, click on Body, Row, JSON. Let's put the title. First movie updated. Let's put the ID, so /1, and click on send. Very good. And now finally we can try the delete movie by ID. /1, no content. Now let's go back to the get tab, click on send, and now we have only one movie. Very good. Now I want to test all these endpoints, so let's go back to the code. Now I want to test all these methods. First, I want to create a test class movie resource test. Test all these methods. First, I need to add a new annotation, Quarkus test. I'm going to put also the tag integration. Let's import them. Finally, I'm going to add also the annotation test method order because I want to test all these methods in a specific order. So type order annotation dot class. Let's import it. Perfect. Now let's put the annotation order 1 to the get method. I'm going to put order 1 for each the get methods. The create, let's put the order 2. Inside the update, I will put the order 3. And finally, the delete method will get the order 4. Now let's go back to the get all test. But first, let's check again the movie resource to understand better. It's a simple function. Fetch all the movies, put the movies inside a list movies, and then it will return a response with the status code OK, and as an entity my list of movies. Very well. By default, when you create a new Quarkus application, inside the pom.xml you have already two dependencies, the RestAssured dependencies and JUnit dependencies with the scope test. In this case, we don't need to add the dependencies for RestAssure. What you need to do, you need to just to add the dependencies for the database H2. Let's copy these dependencies. And now let's change the artifact to Quarkus JDBC H2. Let's import it. And now the POM.xml is ready with all the dependencies. Let's close it. Let's go back inside the movie resource test class. And now let's write the test for the get all. Now it's the moment to use RestAssure, and it allows us to write a declarative test. So follow me and type given when the get method /movies, then what you need to do, we need to check the body of the response. I want that the size of the body, the size of the list, will be equal to true, so true movies inside my list, because in my database, in my H2 database, I want to have true movies. And then inside the body, I want to test also the ID, and the ID must have two items, 1 and 2 with values, we can see in this way. I'm going to do the same for the title, so body title has items, my first movie and my second movie. Let's check also the director, so body director has item me, and finally the body country has item planet. Perfect. Now let's import them. And then of course I want to test the status code. So type dot status code response dot what okay dot get status code. Perfect. Let's import it. Very good. So we wrote our first test with RestAssure, where we test the get all endpoint, where we want to receive a list of true movies, where the ID should be 1 and 2, the title my first movie and my second movie, the director me, and the country planet, and of course the status code OK. But you can wonder, but this data where come from? They come from the H2 database, so we need to set up our H2 database. Let's move inside the application properties file. Good, and let's write the properties only for the test. With Quarkus it's very easy to do it. You need to just type %test dot and then all the dependencies that we want to use. So Quarkus dot data source dot dbkind h2, then %test dot Quarkus dot data source dot jdbc, URL equal jdbc h2 mem db. Then let's put also database dialect. Let's put also the database generation, drop and create. And finally, let's declare the SQL load script. Metainf SQL import-test.sql. In the end, we wanted our test, our application during the test, it will listen on the port not 8080 but for example 9090. Very good. Now we need to create the file import-test.sql with the data that we want to use during our test. Let's create a new directory, SQL, new file import-test.sql, and now we need to insert our fake data. Let's write insert into movie, ID, title, description, director, country. Then values, then one, first movie, then the description. What do we put for the description? Okay, this description is missing, so we need to put it. So body, description, has items. Let's put my first movie, and then my second movie. Perfect. Now let's go back inside the import-test.sql. Okay, now let's put here my first movie as a description, then director me, and finally the country planet. Let's copy it, let's paste it here, and now just change from 1 to 2 as an ID, the title second movie, the description my second movie. Then we need to alter the hibernate sequence because we already use 1 and 2 as the ID. So we need to type alter sequence, hibernate sequence, restart with 3. Perfect. Now we are ready to try our first test. Let's go back inside the movie resource test class and then click on run. Very good. Our test successfully passed. Now let's continue and let's write the other test for the other methods. We wrote the test for the get all, and then in the same way we are going to write the test for the get by ID. Before that, let's go 1 second inside the movie resource and check the method get by ID. So get by ID, it fetches the movie by ID. If the movie exists, we will return a response with the status code OK. Otherwise, it will return a response with status not found. Very good. Inside the test method, write given when get movies/1. Then let's check the body. So what is it? It's ID. It's equal to 1. Then body title equal to first movie. Then body the description my first movie. And then the director, so body director equal to me. And finally, the country body country equal to planet. Then check the status code. So dot status code response dot OK dot get status code. Now I want to test also the case where the movie doesn't exist. So let's copy the test method, paste it here, and then let's just add the KO. let's remove all these lines and just change the status code from OK to not found. Very good. So it's a simple test. So given when get status code not found. Before test the get by ID, let's write also the test for the get by title and get by country. For the get title, it's a simple method that search a movie by title. Instead, for the get by country, it fetch all the movie with a specific country. Let's copy the getById test method, and let me just copy also this part and put it here. The only thing to change here is just the /title/first movie. Instead, for this part, let's copy these lines, put it here, remove just the bodies, and here is not okay but not found. Very good. Now let's move on with the by country. Let's paste it here. This part is not titled by country, and here is not my first movie but planet. And for the bodies is not that one, but it's exactly what we have already done for the get whole. So let's go inside the get whole test method, copy all this part, let's paste it here, and finally we have our get by country test method. We can write also the get by country KO, where here instead of planet we can put Earth. This part we can remove it, and of course the size of the list is not anymore true, but of course is 0. Because you need to remember that in a get by country method we return a list, so the list can be empty if there is not a movie with a specific country. Let's test all these tests that we wrote and click on run, and very good, our tests are working very well. Very well, now let's move on and let's write the test for the create method. Just before writing the test, let's check the create method. So the create method get a movie entity, it store the movie entity, then you check if the movie has been persistent. If so, you will return a response with the status code created. Otherwise, we'll send back a response with status not found. Inside the created, we'll response also the URI. Because the create method accepts a movie entity, we need to create this entity, and we are going to do that using the JSON object. So let's write JSON object equal create JSON object dot, and then head what title with the value third movie. Let's put also the description, so like my third movie. Let's put also the director, me for example, and also the country, planet. In the end, dot build. Now let's import the JSON object, and now let's call the post method. So type given. In this case we need to send and specify the content type of the JSON object. So content type app media type application JSON. Of course the body, So body and the what? JSON object dot to string, then when, and of course what? Post with slash movies, and then the status code, of course, response dot we said created dot get status code. Now, before trying, let's write also the test method for the update by ID. And with the update by ID, we can write also the update by ID KO. Okay, now let's write the test for the update by ID. Inside update by ID, what I need the JSON object. Okay, so let's create the JSON object with just the title. Why the title? Because the update by ID update only the title for the movie. And now we can type again given in this case put Now what I can do, I can just take these lines, put it there, and just change the ID from 1 to 2. And of course the title, it now second movie updated. The description in my second movie, and the status code now it's .ok. Now let's write also the update by ID KO. Inside the KO, let me just copy this part. Let me put it here. Here now what we need to remove the body part, but I will change the ID with the ID that doesn't exist, like 2000, and of course the status code is not anymore okay, but it's not found. And now the last one, delete by ID. Let's jump back inside the movie resource to see what is the delete by ID. Here delete the movies, and then if the movie has been deleted, it will return a response with no content as status code. Okay, so let's go back inside the movie resource test, and of course also in this case we can write the delete by movie KO. Let's type given when delete slash movies slash true, then status code response dot status dot not content dot get status code. And of course, to check that the movie has been really deleted, we can just test with the get method. Let's now copy this part. Let's put it there, and of course let's change the ID of the movie with a fake one, for example 2000. And of course the status code is not content but not found. And now let's test all the methods, all the tests. Click on run. Very well, everything works. We can also run a code coverage. Click here. I can see here all the percentage of the test that has been covered. I can also open a terminal and write mvn compile test, and also in this case our test has been completed. The source code of this video you can find it inside my GitHub repository, and the project is Quarkus testing RestAssured. Feel free to clone it, and thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. See you in the next video about Quarkus. Bye.